I know you just put up to the bar, but we closed.
Come on, man. You gotta be able to give me a shot, man. Come on.
You look like you need a drink, man, but I hate to tell you this, man. We're about to close.
So you mean to tell me all these people out here, they got drinks and they got shots, but I can't get nothing. The bar closed that soon?
Okay, man. I don't know what else to say. I got this shorty half my age at the crib, and I'm trying to get to it. But last call was 10 minutes ago.
You know what? It's alright. Don't even worry about it.
All right. Tell you what. I'm gonna get you one drink, cause it look like you need
one drink. I can do one drink. I can do one drink, cause I really, yeah.
Hey, man, anything, man. Look like you got a lot on your mind and you need a friend right now. Pour it on me. Ain't no last calls here.
Bar Talk with Jay.
Welcome to Bar Talk with Jay.
Welcome.
One of the things that I want to brought to you by is Minecraft. I bet you wonder, what is Minecraft? Well, if you've been listening to Bar Talk with Jay, Minecraft is really the end solution. We talk about it. It gives you the tools to get by it. And what better person than the author, the creator, and the CEO, Craft Matic. How you doing? And tell us about it.
Man, I'm doing good, Smooth Jay.
Man, I like to hear that, my brother.
Yeah, man. Minecraft, my baby. All right.
Tell us about it.
And a company I created several years ago where I wanted to help people stay mentally strong, endure through the challenges and the hurdles and the problems that we deal with. We all have challenges, problems, and hurdles.
Yes.
The question becomes, how do you deal with them? Can you deal with them in a way where you face your fears? Can you deal with them in a way where you become decisive and aggressive?
Right.
Can you deal with them in a way that promotes positivity and faith? If you're not dealing with things well, then you need some help. And I finally created a place where you can get some help. It's the kind of help, Jay, that when you start understanding it, you'll say to yourself, I never knew I needed that.
I like that.
I never knew I needed that kind of help. But boy, these ideas are inspirational.
Right.
And, I'm always trying to summarize my work. And it just seems like what's missing from interpersonal development and personal development is how to spark determination. How to spark the fire inside of your spirit to go and get something done in life. Anyone who's ever achieved anything, they had that fire. That fire is the meaningful difference in winners and losers. It's the meaningful difference between those who have and those who don't have. It's the meaningful difference between those who truly want something out of life and those who don't even honor their own desires.
Okay.
Right? It's that fire. You got to have the fire. The fire gets you over the 50 percentile. The fire gets you to a place where you can see the lay of the land and begin to attack the various areas of your life or of your business or of your relationship. Without the fire, you're sitting around feeling powerless. And there are too many people sitting around powerless. So I just wanted to create something that I think was going to be kind of magical, but at the same time beneficial for average folks going through real life hurdles.
Yes.
That's what it's all about.
That'd be me.
My new book is just about completed.
Yes.
The title of the book is called Activate Your Mind. And it ultimately gives you 100 areas of life where you can activate your mind and improve your go-get-em spirit in life. Right? So we're excited about it, and thank you, Jay, for giving me an opportunity to continue to share it. I'll be bringing it on here live and then living color here over the next month or so. But we got to find some ways to do life a little better. If you're 30, 40 years old and you're looking over your shoulder and you just feeling like you left a lot of life on the table, you feel like you have never really operated at peak performance at your best. You feel like people have been dragging you down and you've been unwilling to say no. And all of these things, that it's time to get over those things. And that's part of the problem, is that people aren't healing, right? because we don't know how to
How?
heal. It's not that you don't want to heal,
You just don't know how.
but we don't know how to heal.
So
We
giving
don't.
them an exposure.
Yeah, we don't know a process to go through to get healing.
I got you.
You know, and so I'm so excited for you, the audience. I'm excited, obviously, for me and my family. I've spent the last 30 years developing these ideas, understanding them,
Mhm.
and I plan to spend the remainder of my life teaching this process,
Come
activate how to activate your mind. So stay tuned and continue to look out for this great product that we have coming.
Yes.
Right. Probably a great way to introduce our show for tonight.
I think so.
This is Bar Talk with Jay. My name is Craftmatic. This is my boy Smooth Jay. And we are here to liberate your minds and souls with a great dialogue.
Yes.
We're just going to chop it up on the subject, have a good time, talk, etc. And as we do, seems like something magical starts to happen. We start to get to some wisdom. We start to get to some real nuggets of
Yes.
information that'll help your life.
Mhm.
Right? That'll help you understand sometimes. Sometimes you don't need new action. Sometimes you don't need anything but understanding,
Say it.
right? So that can be resolved in my spirit. And that's what we're here to do, is to help you resolve some things in your spirit. Tonight, we're going to be talking about rough times are coming. Are you spiritually ready?
Oh, Lord.
Rough times are coming. Are you spiritually ready? That's an interesting statement, question statement, because it suggests that a wall is about to approach your life.
Mhm.
And the question is, are you ready to overcome walls? And if you are ready to overcome walls, that's just what we're going to talk about tonight. We want to hear about that inspiration. And I got a lot to say on the subject.
I like that. I like that.
We want to thank you folks for being with us. Again, it's just our opportunity to be leaders in our own community. And of course, we hope that you enjoy, learn, and get something rich out of this show.
Yes.
We always start the show off with a prayer. And I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to the Lord on the topic.
All right.
Topic is rough times are coming. Are you spiritually ready? Heavenly Father, we come into your place and space just to thank you for your presence and for your power and for your guidance and love, for all the richness and the goodness that you have offered our lives since the day we were born.
Yes.
We ask, Heavenly Father, that you would help us tonight prepare for the storm. We know, Lord, life is up and down and up and down. It just seems like high tide and low tide is the system that you have created for us to move through this life. And we ask, Lord, that you would prepare our minds and hearts for a storm. Prepare our minds and hearts for the rough times. How do we behave when things get tough around us in the world? Enrich our spirit, create strength and courage and decisiveness and love and organization and peace and passion and purpose and all that is good inside of our spirit, so that we can have right action, so that we can take the appropriate steps, so that we can be guided on high by your voice to go and tackle life and make great things happen on behalf of the great you and the great I am. We ask, Heavenly Father, that you would be in this show, speak your word through us, do your good and perfect work, and in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Yes.
Amen. Rough times are coming, Jay.
Sometime they already been here.
Woo!
You know, a lot of times.
Are you spiritually ready?
Yeah, a lot of times you want to look at a life and you want to always look at all the negatives. And a lot of times when I was thinking about this topic myself, rough times ahead, is because sometimes you look at what happened in the past and then you think it's just going to be beautiful from that day forward. More things is coming. But the best thing is he got you through. And a lot of times you give that credit to you.
Right.
And I had an incident happen recently. Wasn't gonna really just talk too much about it because my daughters watch my show, but I was out with my motorcycle and I got a BMW and I ride not that often. I'm not a big biker. I'm not part of no gang. I just like to get around town and enjoy the air. I just love that.
Okay.
So I noticed my front tire when I first got the bike, little dry riding. So guess what? Bought another tire. Why? Don't want no flat tire. It's only got 2 tires. I want to make sure everything stays straight with it. And everything I got, I service and I make sure it's all good. Because I don't want nobody to be worried about me. Because I'm kind of wild. But I slowed I rode this day. I put on all my gear. I got gear I put on just in case something happened. I go down to prepare myself for a good ride. That's all I was looking forward to. I get on it, I'm riding, and my back tire goes out. If anybody know about a bike, that's the last thing you ever want. Now, a lot of people say, yeah, scared. I definitely was. Skilled enough to be able to get to the side of the road. I was on 20. Nobody was letting me over, but I forced my way over and I was able to make it to the shoulder and I didn't crash out. That was a blessing. All right. And a lot of people are like, your skills, this, no. God guided me. I had a time of my life where I had to hold on and I had to believe that I could get to the side of the road. And when he guided me over there and I got there, I promise you, it was rewarding to a point of there's a purpose and it's higher than me. And then no one else stopped. No one stopped to see if I was all right, seeing my whole bike shaking, big bike. No one stopped. And I wasn't worried about them no more. I was able to make a phone call to my brothers. And of course, one of my brothers was freed up enough and came and got a trailer so I can get my bike back. Spent some hours on the side of the road and it even rained on me, but it didn't rain hard. It rained enough to cool me off, to let me know I was blessed. Now, these things happen throughout life. And a lot of people say, okay, it happened, you got past it. But it's to prepare me. There's more things coming. And as that, I have to be prepared. I did have my gear on, but I didn't fall. But it's the fact that I knew to have it. I also had stuff for a strap to strap it down on the trailer. You know, things that helped me get off the side of the road. And all I can tell y'all is I don't know what's all going to be y'all storms. Everybody's different. But to know I was going to give it up to my skill level, but to know I have to give it up to God, to give it up to the person that I always pray for. And again, allow me to wake up on Father's Day, to enjoy being a father. All I can do is give love and total respect to a spirit that's been guiding me. And I have to make sure I give credit to what credit is due. And I hope you guys understand what war and everything that they say is looming. Before all that, you're still going to go through things. And you best have the best attitude. When I got outside the road, I was very happy at the fact I still had life, okay? Not the fact I had to get the bike fixed. Simple. I got a spare tire for it in the garage. It's not about that. It's about I was able to get off the side of the road. I had somebody that cared enough to come get me off the side of the road. We forget about the blessings of people. You know, my son checked on me. You know, I was out here for a long time. These are the things that mean more to me and makes me happy than the toys I buy. It's not about the material things no more. It's about the fact people care. And the fact that when my brother came and got me, he's like, bro, you was there for me. And it's like, yes. But I didn't do that for that. You know, I did it because they needed me, I was there. And guess what? When I needed them, they was there. That's family.
That's family.
And that's what's in my life. That goodness brings me more joy than that bike, them cars, them toys.
And let me tell you what I'm hearing in this story, right? And I think we all can relate and we should all reflect. Because what we're attempting to do in this show is to make sure that you know that you're ready. There's one thing to just be ready, but you got to know that you know that you're ready. And now we're talking about an inner confidence to face a battle. Have you ever gotten ready to participate in some type of competition? Something that was important, something that your heart was in, something that you worked hard for. You're getting ready to compete with this competition. Right? You got to know that you know. Like, you know, a boxer, his hands has got to be mechanical. He can't be thinking. Ain't no thinking left, right? You know, when the dude go left, the left shoulder go up. When the dude go right, the right shoulder go up. It's got to be automatic, mathematical, mechanical. There can be no doubt. There can be no. And so here's what we're talking about. I want you to look over your shoulder at your past. And I want you to reflect on all the victories. You see, as you get ready to face a battle, you have to have all of those victories right here in the forefront of your mind. I've been here. I've done that. I'm familiar with this. This ain't new. This ain't nothing I can't fix. This ain't nothing I can't achieve. I did it last time. I can do it next time. And Jay even went to the next level to discuss it. He says, I got to keep in mind that he got me through. And so now I'm going to the battle no longer alone. I know that he is always with me. And I'm confident of that because he done solved the last 20, 30, 40 mountains that I had to overcome. So I already know he right here with me. See, that's what God wants us to do. He wants us to be aware of his presence. If not now, think about how he was with you then. That should strengthen you in your resolve to drive forward. Right? What he said, don't look at the negatives. Look at the past and see how you came through. Right? That's how you prepare yourself for the battle. Yes, we are all going to encounter some tough things and some tough times in our lives. And as they approach you, you got to gird yourself up with strength. Correct. You know, that's what I wrote Minecraft for. We need to build some strength before we hit the hurdle. Right? We need to build some confidence before we get out in the middle of the wilderness. Right? And so now is the time to start, I think, praying to overcome hard times easily. You see, the Lord can do anything, Jay. He not bound by the world's precedent. He not bound by what has happened before. He not bound by the puny power of a human spirit. Right? He's far, far bigger than that. And we need to begin to embrace his incredible power to overcome whatever it is. Lord, I'm preparing for this war. I want you to make me strong. I want you to make me alert. I want you to make me confident. I want you to put speed under my feet. I want you to increase my pace. I want you to increase my understanding of how blessed I am. I want you to show me favor. I want you to go ahead of me, Lord, and prepare the way and make it open and plain. I want you, Lord, to seat some inspiration and wisdom inside of me so that when I get to the place where I need the answers will automatically come forth. Right? You know, I have asked the question all of my life, did God's people have to spend 40 years in the wilderness? I question that. I've been questioning, is it necessary to spend 40 years in the wilderness? Or could they have come out in 2 years?
Well, you got to think about it like this. You know, how disobedient a lot of them was.
Right? Disobedient, and disobedient equals a lack of faith.
So why reward what ain't showing no real faith?
See, let me ask you this question, Jay. And this is kind of a sidetrack to the subject here, right? But this is good. We're going in the right direction. Did they come out of the wilderness because they decided that they believed enough to let God pull them out, take them out of the wisdom? Or did they stay there until God came back? For example, you know, I'm believing they were in the wilderness because they could not see the truth.
I believe that as well, and I also believe that a lot of times you wasn't exposed and you didn't believe correctly. Because my whole thing, without exposure to know, you tend to do what you do. And again, when you have that not knowing spirit, you tend not to do.
Right.
And I understand that a little bit because I had to get more knowledge myself to push myself to do more.
Right.
So when you're in the wilderness and you're already doubting, you tend not to do. So then you take that into wherever you're going and you're not going to be the positive person you can be.
Yeah.
You can't just look at rewards the way you get them. All right.
Right.
I like to say some things come slower than others. I like to say if money came my way early on, I probably would have blew it. All right. I had a lot of ideas. They was not planned all the way out. I thought off of ideas in my head, and then I didn't see how to make them come to fruition. I didn't have the knowledge. Now I've been around some people. I've been in business. I worked for a company for a very long time, learned a lot of work ethics. So now I got a plan to get things done. All right. So I had to be basically in the wilderness to learn. I had to let go of I'm just gonna be a king and learn how to be a leader. Before you lead anybody, you gotta learn. You gotta work with some people. You gotta learn some things. It ain't just always about you, you know. Yes, I had prayer, but also with prayer, I had to work with others to make some things happen. With that, I built strength. Within that strength, then when I'm alone, I don't feel alone no more because I accomplished so many things. Like you said, badges of honor. You got to remember them. People that you help. That helps carry you when no one's there for you. When I was on the side of the road and I was waiting, I had that silent call to God where I'm sitting there just saying thank you. All them
Just
cars
saying thank
flying past me. They wasn't stopping nothing. And thank you. I didn't need them. I needed him to get me on the side of the road. After that, people came for me. So I had to sit there. And I had rained on. I got wet. So what? I had a positive spirit. If somebody would have stopped, I just would have told them, man, thank you for stopping. But I have somebody coming, and I thank you. I appreciate you. I was appreciative more than ever. The ride I was having, I thought I was having me a good time. I thought I had happiness. Till the scare came along to teach me that was nothing compared to what he did for me. I was just sitting there humbly. I even had a charger for my phone. Phone was on low. Had a charger inside my bike. Put my phone charger. Now people calling me, letting me know they coming for me. I can answer because I have forethought to have certain things with me. And guess what? And he blessed me because it just wasn't me. That's what I'm saying tonight. When these storms are coming, they're coming. As they come, can you prepare for everything? Be mindful. Everything is not just for you to be able to see, but to go high enough to prepare. As it comes, oh, I know not to go out there. That day right there, if rain was in the forecast, I really probably shouldn't, but guess what? I was going to ride shortly, come back, and then that ride led me on the side of the road to realize again, I rode that bike for me.
Yeah. Listen, let me tell you what I heard, Jay. The first thing I heard, which was just like one of the most marvelous ideas under the sun. Right in the middle of the storm, he's thanking God.
Yes.
Did you hear what he said? Right in the middle of being stuck on the side of the road.
Yes.
Nobody's listening. Nobody's stopping. Nobody's helping. He is sitting on the side of the road thanking God. I tell you what, that is a person prepared for rough times. That is a person prepared for the wilderness. That's the kind of spirit that I think God wants us to have in the middle of the storm. Because what's really happening when you are praising and thanking God in the middle of the storm, you're giving the problem over to him. Literally, I'm thanking God, and I'm thanking God because I know his all power is in action over my life right that very moment. You see? And so, this world doesn't work how we think it should work. If you're stuck on the side of the road, kind of in misery and sad and disappointed and depressed, it's not typically the place you're going to be laughing and clapping and praising God. You see what I mean? So in those spaces, a lot of people, they want to cry, and they want to whine, and they want to, feel bad, and they want to gossip and tell everybody their bad story and how horrible it was, and how they have such bad luck and bad things keep happening to them. Nonsense. The real sense is that, we don't know how this works, but the real sense is that somehow or another, you came into a place that was rough. You came into a place that was the wilderness. It could have been your fault, or it could have been God's fault. But somehow you ended up in this wilderness. And what I love about what Jay said was, in those times, that's the times to make good of the wilderness. You see, when you're in the battle, when you're in the war, you got to make good. You got to recall the great lessons, right? You got to recall. So ultimately what you're trying to do is make an unfamiliar place familiar, because you're not going to move properly until you have a familiarity in your spirit about which direction you should go, right? You don't want to tiptoe out of the wilderness. You want to run out of that thing.
Come on.
You see what I mean? And you can't run unless you've already determined the direction,
Make a decision.
right? And sometimes the wilderness will have you spinning in place. But when you get your bearings and say, you know what, enough of this nonsense. I'm going to get out of this nonsense. I'm going to go to a higher place. I'm going to save myself. I'm going to be saved. Whatever that looks like in your eyes and your mind, that you got to get it from the inside out. And that's a really powerful point to make in a discussion like this, because when the storm hits, it's typically going to be very unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
When the storm hits, it's typically going to catch you by surprise. And at the moment it hits, you immediately are going to start to fade, or you're going to start to fade to black.
Mm-hmm.
And when you fade to black, that means you're going to start to take a look around your situation, and you're going to start to make some decisions. Okay, let me sit quietly. Let me go ahead and take this to the Lord. Right? Lord, move my feet. Now what do we need to do? Well, maybe we need to do a little organizing. Maybe we need to, call some other friends. Maybe we need to get out of the way, more harm's way, whatever that happens to be. But it's about getting some clarity so that you can make a real profound decision in the situation, right?
Yes.
And Jay, I think life is a wilderness.
It is.
Right? Life is one of those places where you are constantly being challenged. I mean, you can sit in your living room and try to evade the world if you want to, right? But if you got a certain amount of money to make each month, or a certain amount of achievements that you got to make, then you're going to have to get off the couch and you're going to have to go face these people. You're going to have to get these tasks done, that computer work done. You're going to have to go do the running. You don't have to be in and out of your car all day. You're going to have to put in 10, 12, 15 hours a day. You're going to have to do without the things that you want and sacrifice and supplicate. And you're going to have to do those things. And so now it's like our lives kind of could be centered in rough times. Mm-hmm. We could always be in a place where it seems like there's not enough. But what do we know? We know that strong people, perhaps, who are dealing with lack and limitation, maybe those people don't have a whole lot.
Right.
Boy, they do a lot with a little.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, we got to think about where chitlins come from, right? They made it a delicacy. They made it a delicacy.
Yeah.
But it was the scraps.
Right.
It was the scraps from the main table. They took the scraps from the main table and made gravy with it and brought people forth into the promised land, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Oxtail, pig feet, pig brain, all this stuff that no one else wanted to eat, but we was given that as a disgrace. Like, you just get the scraps.
Yeah.
And we made it into something great and good. Now that people go out and still want to eat it because of what we did with it.
They serve it in fine restaurants now.
Because the power of us.
Right.
The person that sat there and said, okay, this is all we got. Instead of saying, well, I guess we won't eat. No, I'm going to find the best way to serve this for we can stay healthy and we can eat. And that's why some people, I can't eat that. That's fine. Just understand the person that was handed that, they didn't have a choice. That's all they had to survive. And they made the best thing they could. And that's the resilience sometimes.
And I think that is another great point to make on this subject. Okay. You are all going to experience poverty.
Yes.
We are all going to experience not having enough. We're all going to experience a place where it seems like there's lack, there's limitation, it's just so far from abundance.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get to that place, what do? You make the best of what you have. Right? That's what we're talking about. And you gotta remember, and I think sometimes prosperous people might forget this, that, you know, if you lose who are you if you lose your money? Mm-hmm. If you're prosperous and life is easy and you have lots of options and decisions and you can make choices and you can travel and you can fill up your gas tank and your refrigerator and send money to friends and family and you just been balling out for a bunch of years. Well, when the table turns upside down
Mm.
and you have no things and stuff, who are you? And I think that's one of the things the wilderness will bring out is the real you, right?
Or the lack of you.
Yeah, or the lack of you, right? But it's going to show the truth.
Oh, you will.
The truth is going to be revealed. But the point I wanted to make here is that when you're in rough times, when you're in the wilderness, that you have to find a way to make do with what you have.
That's right.
And I remember being in college, and I remember going to the grocery store, and we just had to make do.
Mm-hmm.
We bought a bag of potatoes. We bought a couple of loaves of bread. We had some peanut butter and jelly. I remember going to the grocery store one time, and I think I told the story. I remember going to the grocery store one time, and I could buy the potatoes and the bread, but I didn't have enough to buy that tub of spread, that butter spread. I didn't have enough to buy that, and it wasn't but like $1.50. But that was the budget I was on, right?
Yeah, that was back then.
Yeah. But listen, I thought to myself, I got some salt at the crib. I got some salt at the crib. There's some seasoning salt up in that thing. There's some barbecue sauce off in the cupboard, and some hot sauce. And boy, listen, I made that potato
Tastes good.
taste good. In fact, I was so proud. Listen, and here's what's so wonderful about those moments, Jay.
Mm-hmm.
As prosperous as I am now, I don't need none of that stuff. You give me a bag of potatoes and a loaf of bread, and I'll make do and be full. Wake up, you know what I'm saying? No grumbles.
Come on.
I don't need steaks and ribeyes and T-bones. I don't need the great, but I know I can live on such a small increment because I did it. And I'm bringing all of that history with me into the right now. I'm not afraid of being broke. I'm not afraid of nothingness. And in fact, I've been actually accused recently of being, I ain't gonna say, it wasn't cheap, but it was kind of frugal. Right. Okay. And I think to myself, yeah, I am frugal because I'm the guy who will eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches 2 or 3 nights in a row, and then I'll go hit me a $50 T-bone steak lunch. You see what I mean? So it ain't that I have a poverty mindset, it's that I pay it forward. That's how I do. Because when I want to eat a steak, I want to go and get a steak. And so today it might not be a steak day, so I'm gonna eat I'm gonna hit me an old Golden Corral for about $12, and I'm gonna get me some fresh meats and vegetables and some biscuits and some salads, and for that $12, I might make that last a full day and a half, whatever, right? And then you'll catch me spending $200 on a dinner on a Saturday night, right? See, I just have this thing in my spirit where I know I can never in my spirit just throw away the resources that God has given me. He always wants me to tiptoe with his resources. I learned from rich people that they tiptoe with their resources. They count pennies. They count dollars. They got hundreds of thousands of dollars in the bank, and they'll beat me up over $200 in the middle of a $70,000 purchase. Yeah. You got to understand how to manage your resources. And I would imagine the spirit behind all of those rich people is that, yeah, I'm rich now. But I remember when I was living out of the garage. I remember when I was in my mama's basement. I remember when I had to share an apartment with 3 other people. I remember when the lights got cut off. I remember when I didn't have no gas to go across town and get to work. I remember when I couldn't buy new clothes to go out and show. I remember when I couldn't go out. I remember all of these. And now that I have this remembrance of how strong I am when there's not enough, I'm not concerned about that wilderness or that kind of rough time coming into my life because I can make do with very little or nothing.
Let me tell you, man, I'm right there with you, and mine's a little different because I had them times too. But them times when I thought about it, I remember what my mom used to do. She'd cook a meal, and whatever's left over, she'd make something with that meal into another meal.
Yes.
That way, because she knew we probably wasn't going to eat it like that. So I learned just to sit back and eat. And there's one day I came home, I was like, I ain't eating that. And she said, I guess you just won't eat. Let me tell you something. Later on that night, I went right back in there And she left it out.
I was
She
gonna
knew.
say a couple of days, but a couple of hours.
It took me a while because
Right.
your stomach go to grumbling. You be like, and it was good. It just looked the same as this. You know, I felt like I ain't got to eat that. I was young.
Yeah.
So now I'm older, and I've been through that. So now I like steaks too.
Yeah.
I buy a whole big ribeye, and I get it cut up, and I get it frozen, and I put it in the freezer. So when it's ready for me to get a steak, I don't gotta go nowhere.
You don't gotta go nowhere.
And I know how to grill it.
That's
I
absolutely
cook it
right.
how I want it.
Yeah.
So it is made to perfection off of me, because I already been to that place
Right.
where I didn't have it. Now I bought it fourth. So when I want it, I don't even have to leave out. If I gotta go to a restaurant, I can.
Absolutely.
It's not like I don't have it. My whole thing is having the resource to eat it. I'm able to eat it right next to my kid. I'm able to eat it right next to my mom. My mom can enjoy it right there with me. I paid it forth. All right. And that's what people that's thinking about money and budgeting does. We just don't think it's always going to come. You don't know. The storm can come. And if that storm come, power go out, got a generator. All right.
Yeah.
Certain things might happen. Can you prepare for everything? I don't think you can prepare for everything, but you can have foresight. Just say, okay, if these things happen, what I want to do? Well, what if the generator didn't work? I also got solar backup. I was blessed enough to have it, but I wasn't that frugal that I didn't want to just spend it. I just thought about what I wanted to spend it on. That's why they say frugal. Frugal is not a bad thing. Frugal means I'm just not going to waste it on everything.
You're not gonna waste it.
I'm not going to put it on Louis Vuitton. I ain't just talking about Louis, Gucci, and the rest of them. They're name brand. They're a name brand you probably not see on my ass. I'm not giving it to them. I'm going to give it to resources that's going to help me keep living.
Yeah.
Instead of another name. I got my own name.
Right.
So not to put certain brands down, but be wise about your money.
Be wise about your money. Be wise about your resources.
Thank you.
Period. Right? Be wise about your resources. I want to bring up something, Jay. I'm going to kind of turn the table just a little bit along the same lines. What if we were attacked? America was attacked by terrorists.
Okay.
And what if the power in America, the lights went out? Are you spiritually ready for the power to be cut off in this world? Here's where I'm going, Jay.
I'm listening.
There are people who are so consumed with worldly stuff that they just might lose their mind if the power was turned off. There are people who have no friends. They stuck in front of a TV and in front of a computer and in front of their phones all the time. They don't know how to relate to people. They don't know how to communicate with people. And if the TV goes off, now they start to feel lonely and get paranoid and be sad and always be down in their spirit because they're being recharged by other people's stories and they haven't created their own story. So when the power in America goes out and you have nothing to face but yourself, are you spiritually ready to face yourself? You know, they say that people who are put in, what is it, solitary confinement,
Isolation.
that the weak ones lose their mind quickly. If you are not strong in your mind, you disintegrate quickly when you're put in a silent place where you can't touch the world. But if you would put Jesus or Buddha or any of our great leaders in that same room, they'll last for years and years and years because they're not built up by the world around them. They're built up by their own spirit. We're talking today about rough times are coming. Are you spiritually ready? Do you have enough strength in your spirit to withstand years of the wilderness? Let's say it's coming. And one of the, I'm not going to call it a fear, Jay, but one of the things that happens in the back of my mind is I have watched people get old. And I have watched people start to face health issues.
Right.
And I've watched them start to get on medication and lose their mobility and sometimes lose their freedom and sometimes have to always be on medication and sometimes live a life not really feeling well because they're trying to balance the medication with just living and then trying to get life done. And so they're living life not feeling well. There's a lot of elderly people who go through that. Right. And in those times, you have to constantly keep your mindset strong. Can you imagine being 60, 70, 80 years old and you got a little arthritis and you got a little gout and you got a little diabetes and your heart pressure is not right and you don't sleep well and you deal with headaches and you got a hurt ankle from 30 years ago when you was doing sports and athletics and you got that neck injury and you got all of these things that I would imagine those are the times we're all headed to. And if you don't have a strong mind, you will cave in quickly. Right? The pain of a normal ache. Every time it's gonna rain, that knee aches. You got to gird yourself up with strength because it's coming. Those are the days that are coming for us. And I don't know, it seems like the Lord is saying, what I'm gonna do with you is as life progresses, I want you to know I'm gonna put a little heavier and heavier weight on you until it's your time to go. Until it's your time to come home, I'm just going to put a little more weight on you every single part of your life. It's early in life, and now you got to get an education. So now you got to fight through that. And you got to pay for the education. You got to fight through that. And now you got a family. You got to feed them kids, and you got to get that house done. And the responsibility is just growing. And now that the kids are a little grown, they need more help. Now they don't want $100, for a nice evening. They want $10,000 for help with a down payment on a house. And you want to love up on them, your help. And now all of a sudden, you get a hurt back and you're down for 3 or 4 months, 3 or 4 years, and you ain't got income the same way, and now you're moving, now you're taking medications and you need a little chemo and you ain't talked to your brother in years. You see how life is progressively, and what it seems like is the weight is getting heavier. But if you're getting stronger, the weight should be staying the same. It's just weight that you have to carry throughout the rule of life. Right. Does that example make sense, Jay?
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so we're attempting, and I love this conversation because we're attempting to put the weight on you now.
Yeah. Let me give you
go ahead and hold that weight because it's going to be a natural strength builder for you on through this fire.
Let me tell you one of the things about that. And again, sometimes you're going to be like Noah's Ark. You're going to feel like you're doing way more than everybody else.
Yes.
You're talking about things that might happen and you buy things. So I've been accused of doing this the most, all right? From the generators to having different things, having a plan. You having a plan for a power outage or something bad to happen. I have a plan because I have to remember survival. Things that happen, okay? It could be a regular storm. It got to be a war.
Right.
The storm took out power. Right. That has happened. So
right.
What do? I have neighbors that I talk to.
Right.
So I have a situation where I live in the cul-de-sac. So we kind of come together. So I have an idea of who I can trust, who I can go to, who I can talk to. Also a plan for what I can do. I got wood in my backyard, firewood. You'd be like, what good is firewood in summertime? Well, you understand if gas go out, power is not on, I can still cook.
And you can heat your water, absolutely.
Exactly. And I have filters. So if I have to filter the water, I can filter it. I can get by for a nice amount of time because I put that on me because not just being frugal, being thoughtful to have the different stuff just in case. Now, if it never happens, it's okay. I got extra food here just in case. Well, if nothing happened, it'll get eaten. I will eat like I always do.
It'll get eaten.
So it ain't gonna go bad.
Right.
Sometimes I'll be wondering that my son just be like, well, it's all this extra food. I can just, no, you better eat it.
Right.
Because we ain't wasting. Because if things was to happen, it would be our blessing to know we have forethought for things that might be coming while everybody else is panicking. Panic causes more problem than sitting back being calm. We've been through hell already. He taught us how to get through hell because we was guided by him. So when the next storm comes, you already got a plan because he helped you through so much to prepare to be wiser spiritually than be panicked miserably through material things.
Ideally, every storm should be a little bit easier. And so as we carry more and more weight, we should be able to overcome these storms with more efficiency and more effectiveness. What else can you ask?
You run it around there,
right?
There.
it's about time for us to close, but I love this conversation because let's just say in the next 90 days, you and me, every single one of us are going to experience a major storm.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping that this kind of conversation has strengthened you. I'm hoping that as soon as the storm starts, as soon as you see the wind coming and the clouds starting to build up, you're going to start to pull your shoulders back, right?
Yep.
You're going to start to lift your head up like I'm ready for you, right? It's just like you're about to get into a fight. You don't go into a fight slump.
Nope.
You go into a fight kind of intense and ready for anything. That's how you need to be addressing life, and that's how you need to be living. Life should be on your tiptoes, not on your heels, right? The question is, rough times are coming. Are you spiritually ready? The greatest spiritual readiness is to have a relationship with God. And your relationship with him will strengthen you enough. See, you really don't even need to see the storm. All you need to do is close your eyes and be with him, and he'll move you through the storm. The storm will pass. You may see remnants of the storm, but you don't actually have to see the storm.
Say it.
You know what I mean? Boy, I want to go so deep into that. Listen, it's time to close. I hope is that you got something beautiful out of this conversation, because this is how we inspire ourselves.
Yes.
This is how we think all people can be inspired by having these discussions. What are you going to do when the storm comes upon you?
Yes.
What are you going to do when rough times you are in the midst of rough times? Are you spiritually ready for the battle? And we'll close with that. This has been Bar Talk with Jay. My name is Craftmatic. This is my boy Smooth Jay. And we want to thank you folks for being here with us tonight. It's just our opportunities to be leaders here in our own community. As you can see, we have something to say. We got some experience. We got some knowledge. And we're just trying to deliver it in a way that you can receive all of this good strength and knowledge as well. We're here every Thursday from 7 to 8 Facebook Live. We've been here for years. Please come back, like, share, subscribe, tell all your friends and family. And never, ever forget that we do this because we love you and we appreciate you. And with that, we are out.
Ain't no last calls here.